This video is sponsored by Bajaboard, a brand that continues to prove it doesn't cost top dollar to have a top riding experience. Keep a sharp eye out for their upcoming products, the Meepo Roadster and V4. Today, we are reviewing this monster board from Propel Electric Vehicle. This is the Propel X4S, a board that's selling for $2,650 now and is pushing the limits on what can be defined as an electric skateboard. Just looking at it, you can see that there is no question the Propel X4S is a Bajaboard clone. The question is the Propel X4S a good heavy-duty all-terrain vehicle while being $1,000 cheaper than a similarly spec'd Bajaboard? Let's find out. First, as always, let's go through the build details and the specs and see what we are getting for the nearly $3,000 price tag. Starting with the board, it is worth emphasizing that this thing is huge. It's 60 pounds or 27 kilograms in weight. The carbon fiber deck is 46.4 inches, 1180 millimeters long, and 22 inches, 560 millimeters wide. So if you drive a hatchback, it might not fit in the trunk of your car. The Propel X4S has a beautiful carbon fiber deck with a very aggressive concave for better control. For wheels, it uses giant 10-inch pneumatic tires to allow you to roll over just about anything and traverse nearly any terrain. Next, let's focus on the suspension system. For the Propel, or any Baja clone, the name of the game is obviously their ability to handle shocks and bumps from ultra-rough terrain, and the suspension on the X4S has been built to handle vertical shock absorption. The vertical shock absorption can be adjusted if desired by adjusting the spring load on the coils. Adjusting these coils will control how much vertical bounce you have on the deck. Think of it as a replacement for the deck flexibility in any regular longboard deck. Spoiler alert, this kind of suspension system is really cool. We can officially state that there is zero vibration, no matter how crazy the terrain is. There are another set of springs that control the turning of the board. These turning springs are the ones below the board and can be easily tightened and compressed further. These are like the bushings on a truck hanger. The more you tighten them, the more it's like tightening up your bushings or changing them to something firmer. The tighter you make them, the less turning radius you will have, but the more solid it will feel at top speed. The looser you have it set, the more carvy it will be, so similar to bushings, you should adjust them according to your weight and particular needs. It's advised to adjust them a couple turns down from stock, but ultimately this is a matter of rider preference. To make sure that the board has enough power to traverse the harshest terrain, the Propel X4S is equipped with four 1500 watt belt motors with the size of 6374. This, combined with a 10S 6P Samsung 35E battery, gives the board enough torque to handle the steepest incline you can find on a mountain trail, and complement that with a top speed of 27 miles per hour or 45 kilometers per hour. For the standard price of $2,650, you get two battery packs, and each will last you 27 kilometers or 17 miles in range. In our range test, we managed to get 2 miles more out of each battery, putting the total range of both packs at 37 miles or 60 kilometers. Pretty crazy. Last but not least, for its electronic speed controller, Propel EV went with a customized Lingy ESC on the X4S. For us, this is the only familiar part on the board, and the only part that we can nitpick. One easy target for criticism would be the remote. Propel uses the typical Lingy ESC remote with telemetry on it. Granted, this remote scores 100% in functionality. It's comfortable in hand and doesn't disconnect. But for this price, we expect something that looks classier to match the rest of this very well-polished board. Obviously, this is just a small disappointment and something that Propel EV could easily fix in the future. While we are on the topic of the Lingy ESC, let's seg right into talking about the riding experience and speed control. After reviewing a number of boards that feature Lingy ESCs, I noticed that the roughness of a Lingy ESC increases in proportion to the number and size of the motors that you put on the board. In a typical dual-hub electric skateboard, a Lingy ESC delivers near-perfect smoothness in both acceleration and deceleration. So for the Propel X4S, the board speed control is not silky smooth, but more punchy and powerful. As is always the case, the Lingy ESC allows you to change between 4 acceleration modes and 4 brake modes, independent of each other. With that said, perfectly smooth control is never going to be a big deal in this kind of board, because when it comes to all-terrain uses, smoothness takes a backseat to power. You would hardly notice a flaw in the smoothness when you are taking on a 30-degree incline running up a rocky hill. So, the speed control is fine. Let's talk about the riding experience on the Propel. Stepping on the board, you will immediately feel its height off the ground. The deck is wide, and the concave locks your feet in place. Turning on the board is easy and feels tight, considering the size, and it returns to center easily as well, giving it a very stable feeling. With that said, you won't feel like carving on this thing as it is heavy. There are 0 road vibrations with the 10-inch wheels. When riding over uneven surfaces, the shock absorbers kick in and you feel nothing. It's like riding on a cloud. When the board rolls over an obstacle, the deck moves vertically to absorb the shock. Unlike a regular longboard deck, the X4S won't bounce like a trampoline. Instead, the entire deck drops and rises to absorb the bump. It's super comfortable. I found that when encountering most obstacles, for example curbs, you can just ride over them without hesitation. Plus, the clearance of the board is designed to be high so that you can ride over stuff without bumping the bottom of the deck. The power, the big wheels, and the suspension systems mean that the board can run up almost any steep rocky trail. As the shock absorbers in each wheel are independent of each other, all 4 wheels will still be in contact with the ground even when riding on uneven terrain. You can start from a complete stop even when riding up a steep hill, and it won't break a sweat. Going down the hill, the super strong brakes also allow the board to stop completely. With this kind of true all-terrain vehicle, no path is off limits. You get to go anywhere at all, and if you are riding on a regular road, you get to close your eyes and just hit the throttle. Nothing on the road will threaten you. I dare say that even a reckless driver would have their eyeballs stuck on this extraordinary monster under your feet. That also means you will definitely attract some attention in a group ride. With that said, here comes the verdict for Propel X4S. Should you get one? I guess at this point, you should already know the answer. If you are in the market for a true all-terrain vehicle, the Propel X4S is going to be great for you. If you are just looking for a regular longboard for normal roads, the Propel X4S is obviously an overkill. It would be like choosing to drive a tank just because the road has some potholes along the way. The thing is 60 pounds after all. But hey, you do you. As always, if you are looking to buy the Propel, or actually any e-skate, be sure to use our affiliated discount code with the link below. It will help you get 3% off, and it helps us out too. You'll also be tagged as an Electric Skateboard HQ customer, and probably be treated even better. Ride safe, guys.